Hi everyone, I'm here with the Kenyan ambassador, Kagwiria.
It's good to be on your podcast.
No, thank you for being here. And am I saying that correctly, Kagwiria?
Yes.
Because you also go by Hazel.
Yeah.
Is
yeah.
that because...
So, about that. So my first name is actually Hazel, like on my passport and my birth certificate and all that. But at home in Kenya, no one calls me Hazel. So when I came to Australia, I was like, these people are going to struggle with my second name.
So is that your second name?
Yeah, Kagwiria is my middle name.
Ah.
Yeah.
So is that common for people to be in Kenya to be addressed by their second name?
Yeah, it's common, but usually in school and stuff like that, people go by their first names.
Yeah.
But for me, it was different because my mom just decided
She liked Kagwiria?
Yeah.
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 Because even in most countries and even in Australia, the second names are or the middle names are hardly used.
Yeah.
Like it's always the first name. So what do your best friends call you? Like from back home, what do they call you as?
All my friends call me Kagwiria or Kagwe or Kags.
So Hazel is just for the passport and you're...
Hazel's just for Australia, yeah.
But it's not a tough name. It's understandable why people might struggle with it, but I think from someone from India, it's very intuitive in the sense that it's not that difficult.
Yeah, and it's not even just for other people; it's for me as well. Because when I hear people butcher my name, it really upsets me.
It does?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so when you heard my name, is that also something? So the way that I would expect Indians to be comfortable with your name. As a person from Kenya, do you think it's easy to say my name?
Yeah. It's just basically you say it as you see it. So
Yeah.
it's not complicated.
Exactly.
Same way with my name, but for some reason people just struggle. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the worst version of your name that you've ever gotten?
I hate it when people say my last name is Mudomi. Very simple.
Yeah.
TH means the, right?
Yeah.
But even in hospital here, when the doctor reads out your name, they're like Kagwiria Mutomi, and I'm like, oh god.
But I think that's a very common thing that sometimes a lot of names with TH they'll become
Yeah.
there's H is always silent.
Yeah, but it just really annoys me. So.
Okay, so I'll try not to make that mistake in this podcast. So yeah, like I mentioned, you're from Kenya.
Yes.
So one of the really nice things that I figured out while I was talking to you before this podcast is that a part of my family is related to Kenya, and there's a story there that I'll get to later. And I also want to talk to you about India and Kenya.
Yeah.
People often don't realize how much we share. People do not normally expect us to be very closely related just because we are from different continents.
Yeah.
Once we got independence, one of our politicians called Kenya our next shore neighbors.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also recently, I think it was last year, our president now,
Yes. Is it President Kenyatta?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, the son of our first president.
First president,
Yeah.
yes.
So he made Indian-Kenyans the 44th tribe in Kenya, officially.
Yeah.
So yeah, we really embrace Indian culture, and yeah, we've just always had a lot of Indians in Kenya, and we just live together, and it's so normal.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
recently I read about Indians being the 44th tribe and being recognized, and while it is a prominent part of Kenyan demographic, especially in Nairobi and Mombasa, one of the Kenyan Asians or Kenyan Indians spoke about their experiences, and she said that it's mostly symbolic, but also she felt like she was now visible. Like she felt more Kenyan, which is nice. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a really good thing because, Indians have been in Kenya since the 18th century.
Yeah. So here's a recap for everyone, and I'm also correct me if I'm wrong, but here's a recap of Indians in Kenya, which is basically the Britishers came over to India. They were building railways and transport, and then they also colonized East Africa, or what is now Kenya.
Yeah.
And then they're like, hey, we need to make railways here. Indians, it's a good business opportunity. Indians like Punjabis and Gujaratis, different Indians, they're like, sure, let's go.
Yeah.
So then we came over. And
so it's actually really funny because while the Indians were building the railway, near the coast in Savo, there were these lions that were eating the Indians.
Ouch. Why? That laugh is... you shouldn't be laughing at that. That's sad.
I don't know. I just think it's of course it was horrible for them.
Yeah.
But I think it's such a funny story that these two lions were like terrorizing them while building the railway.
Wow.
And
I understand why. We were kind of destroying... Well, we were made to destroy the forests that they would live in. So...
yeah, so actually what happened to those lions is they were killed by the British, obviously.
Yeah.
And you know how British people are. So
I actually want to get into that because we have Britishers in common, so I'll go ahead.
So what happened is they sold the like bodies of the lions to a museum in the US.
Okay.
And I'm like, why would they take those lions to America? You know?
Yeah.
How British people are. They just take our stuff and
yeah, like our diamond is still with them. So it's really funny because like Indians will like annually like thousands and like hundreds and thousands of people from India will go to the British Museum to see a diamond that was ours.
Can you believe?
It's really like I saw this comic and it was made by one of the newspapers in Britain. So it's okay to laugh on that, you know.
Yeah.
Which basically said that if the British started giving away all the things that they took from other countries, the British Museum would be empty.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
It's the most annoying thing, but you know, as colonies, we just have to accept it and move on, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of being a British colony, is that the Britishers is why Indians and Kenyans are so close, is because we came over and y'all came over here, because there's this part there are these it's not a tribe but it's a group of people called the Siddhis, which were basically Kenyans who came to Gujarat or India during the same time. But I really like that when we got independence, one of the leaders in Kenya were also kind of like motivated. Like, you know, I always think of the Britishers or the British Empire as like a bad boyfriend. Like, I've always thought of this, like, you know, like, it was a toxic relationship with us and with you.
Yeah,
we suffered a lot, you all suffered a lot. Then we broke up. Mm-hmm. And then basically, after we broke up, after the independence, we basically texted you saying, hey, break up with him. Because we sent our leaders, we sent all of our political people to Kenya to like inspire Kenya.
Yeah.
And then you all got independence. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like we are bonded by the fact that we had the same abusive boyfriend.
It's so true, because even I think the first non-white person like governing Kenya was Indian.
Yeah.
So you definitely had so much influence.
Because we had experience. we were like, hey, friend, we know how this works. We broke up, now you break up.
Yeah, it's so funny, but yeah, I mean, it was bad back then, but now you know you can.
No, it's getting better. We're both nations that are very recently independent in the course of history. Less than 100 years is nothing.
Yeah.
And we're both arguably like. Both our nations have objectively struggled at the start. Mm-hmm. We both had instability politically. We've had good people ruling us, bad people ruling us, coups, people getting mad, violence. Mm-hmm. But now it's getting better, which is nice.
Yeah,
we also have agriculture in common because we're both huge on that.
Yeah, like tea.
Yeah.
Like how people here call there's chai, chai latte and chai tea, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's like if I was like, oh, this is an AC air conditioner.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like you're saying two same things. It's chai or it's tea.
Yeah.
Don't say chai tea.
But is chai like a word for tea in another language?
Yes.
Yeah, because chai is the word for tea in Swahili.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think one of us, I don't know who named it first, but one of us named it chai and the other one is like, hey, it's chai, done.
Yeah.
Also, the other personal connection that I have with Kenya is that one of my all of my uncles on my dad's side, they were brothers, and they were all based in Mombasa. And they passed away when I was really small.
Yeah.
But one of the memories that I have is that every birthday I would get like this, like the best of the gifts, like the biggest remote control car, or like really super nice gifts, and it would come from Mombasa. So like as a child growing up, I always thought of Kenya as this nice place where gifts come from.
Oh.
Like it was really like, and it's really surreal for me to be able to talk to someone from the nation where my uncles used to live.
Yeah.
And just send me gifts.
Yeah, the thing is with the Indians in Kenya, they're very wealthy because they're very good at business.
Yeah.
For example, the Indians who went to my school,
Yeah.
very, very wealthy. Like, they'd go home in, like, their big Prado cars every weekend.
That's so weird because, like, Indians back home, we're not that wealthy.
Which is, maybe that's why so many people stayed, so many Indians stayed. Because they were like,
this is good.
Yeah, we can do something here.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's also one of the... Maybe that's why a lot of people did go. I'm no historian, but it seems like looking at the demographic of Indians and the wealth that the Indian community has, I think the Britishers promised us, like they tried to so it's like, like when it's like a boyfriend, right? So like when your boyfriend is like, hey, I'll cook for you. So that was that. Like the Britishers were like, hey, I'll give you a lot of stuff. Just come along. Like come to my house.
Yeah.
And then...
Yeah. But I'm happy for, the Indians. They're doing so well. They're very good business people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's nice because like there's no beef.
There's
no beef
definitely
between
no
Asians
beef.
and Africans.
We've stolen so many things from India, so...
Yeah, so also one of the things that has... I obviously spoke about how the uprising and independence was also a bit mildly instigated by the Indians, but I also have to mention that food is something that we have in common because you mentioned earlier that you also have chapatis, which is bizarre to me. It's like something that is so like... Chapati is one of the most Indian foods that I know.
Really? I always thought chapati was Kenyan.
Fair enough.
Honestly, I didn't know like chapati came from India. And do you have pilau?
Pulao.
Yeah.
Is that the rice with... of course.
I was like, oh my gosh, we actually stole this from them and made it... Like, I would have never known it came from India.
And I would have never known that it was. Because now I feel like if I went to Kenya, I would get more food than any other country except India. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's more Indian food apart from India in Kenya. So like...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, we always go out for India, and my mom loves India. My mom studied in India, actually.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What city?
Actually, I don't know.
It's okay, what part of the country?
I'm not sure.
What university?
I'm not sure.
What
but she came to India to study medicine.
Huh.
And she did a year of it, and she realized, like, this is not for me. So she switched to do business and finance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was this before she got married to your dad?
Yeah, before she got
as
married.
like a college student.
Yeah, for uni she came to India.
Ah. Very, very strange though.
I know. So yeah, my mom is really good at making pilau, chapati, biryani, different curries. She's really good at Indian food. And she loves Indian food. She loves spice and chili, so yeah.
When you moved over to Brisbane, have you tried the Indian food here?
I have.
Do you think it's the same? Or do you like it?
It's hit and miss. Some restaurants have really good curry.
Yeah.
And some, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I could do better than this.
Because what I want to know now that I've found out that our food is so similar and that you grew up with 90% of the same food that I grew up with, as a scientist, what I'm interested in is just trying to somehow get a Kenyan prepared Indian dish or a Kenyan prepared dish and an Indian prepared dish, and I just want you to taste both of them and tell me, and I also want to taste both of them and see how similar or dissimilar they are.
Yeah, or even how if we make them the same way.
Yeah, I'm really...
We should actually have a competition.
We should have a cook-off.
Yeah, we should have a cook-off.
It's the same dish.
Yeah.
But just the way we prepare it and just the way you prepare.
Yeah, now I have to go home and learn. And be really good, and next year come back a real chef. But yeah, I love Indian food.
Yeah, which is nice. You also mentioned one of the richest Kenyans is Indian, which is good.
Yeah, if you look at the top 10 richest people in Kenya, I think maybe 6 of them are Indian.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, Indians really have good in Kenya.
They came to Kenya and they just did the most. They were like, okay, guys, we're here and we're gonna work.
You know what? Again, I really like the relationship analogy. So you know what it is? It's basically they left from a British occupied India and they came to Kenya and they were like, you know what this is? This is a fresh relationship. We screwed up with the last boyfriend. This one we are gonna really make it work. And they got married basically.
Yeah, they're really good at business. Like, yeah, all the big businesses are owned by Indians. They're just very influential.
Is that something that kind of like makes you a bit angry? Because I'm Indian and I'm angry at the Indians in Kenya for doing so well.
No, it's not. They came from basically nothing and they made something of themselves.
Yeah.
And they work really hard. It's not like they came and they bribed and stole. I'm sure they had to fight really hard to get the rights that they have.
Yeah.
And to own the amount of stuff that they have.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm jealous or anything like that. If you work hard and you do well, then and they're doing good things for Kenya. So building
it's like a real that Drake song started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yeah.
It's basically that.
It's exactly that, and that's why we have such a good relationship. There's no beef at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good because Indians, Hindus, they don't like beef.
Oh gosh, these bad jokes need to stop.
Do you know who Dev Patel is? The guy from Slumdog Millionaire?
Yes.
He's Kenyan?
No.
Yeah.
You're joking.
No, I'm not joking. It blew my mind because he looks Indian because he is Indian, but he was born in London to Indian-Kenyan parents because his parents were both born in Nairobi.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I just found out about it today and I was so surprised no one talks about it. Like, he's a person born in London who has both descents from Africa and Asia, or India and Kenya. And no one speaks about it.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
You live and you learn.
Yeah.
We have sports in common because India and Kenya recently played football. We're bad at it, football. I don't know about y'all.
We're not great, to be honest.
Fair enough. But we're good at cricket though.
Yeah.
Even y'all have
we're quite good, but the whole cricket team is basically Indians. So
I know that the captain is Rakeb Patel. And I see Patel, I'm like, hey, this is Indian. Because like my mom's maiden surname was Patel. So I'm like, yeah, this is Indian.
Yeah, and it's so funny. Even in my high school, they had a cricket team and they would basically force the Indians to play. Even though they didn't want to play cricket, they were like, you're gonna get good at it.
It's something that still happens today because a lot of my friends from like my college, my undergrad or my high school, a lot of my friends will go to US or UK or not so much in UK but in US. They're all doing well with cricket. Like they're all winning like trophies and all. Yeah. And it's all over my Facebook. And they're not even people who were good when we used to play.
Yeah.
So even like someone who would be in the substitutes goes out there and kills it in cricket.
Yeah. Because they basically force them to be on the cricket team.
They're like, you are an Indian, you play cricket, you will be great.
Yeah. But aside from cricket, Kenya's really good at rugby, especially rugby sevens. Like they even come and play Australia, they play Fiji.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because there's also a rugby culture in Australia. With Australia, I connect to Australia in a lot of senses. One of that ways is cricket because we both have a love for cricket. And the culture here for cricket is really nice. It was really nice back home. So do you kind of connect with the culture here because of rugby?
Yes. I think I connect in the sense that I've watched a lot of live rugby games in Kenya.
Yeah.
And the crowds are exactly the same. Drunk people getting rowdy in the crowd, shouting and all that. But yeah, it's a good atmosphere.
Yeah.
And also when we went for that rugby
Queensland
match,
Reds games, yes.
I wasn't completely clueless because at least I've watched a few rugby matches in my life.
Because I was really clueless. I was like, because the only time I will encounter rugby back home is when a person in a movie goes to another country and happens to see rugby.
Yeah.
That's how I've seen rugby. Through a protagonist in a movie seeing rugby.
So I thought it was really cool. I was just like watching the crowd and I was like, oh my gosh, it's like I'm back home.
And that's also sentiment that a lot of our friends shared, especially if they were from countries where rugby is great. Yeah.
Yeah, so Maggie was like so excited, so pumped because South Africa is really good at rugby as well. Yeah.
And I think the team that came to play was South African, right?
Yeah. But they played really badly for some reason. Yeah, and they're normally really good, so I don't know.
It's nice because like the team that we went for a Queensland Reds game. We were supporting Queensland Reds, and Queensland Reds wasn't doing that well. Yeah. And the one match where they played one of the good teams of South Africa, they won. Mm-hmm. So it was really like I like to think that we were really lucky.
Yeah, I feel like we were, like a good luck charm.
Yeah, and I'm till date I'm really surprised that no one's really sent any like packages or Queensland Reds merch.
Honestly.
Yeah. I was like, where's my season pass?
We spread the word about that match so much.
And no, not just that. It's just that, look, you won a match that nobody thought you were going to win.
Yeah.
If there is a small chance that we were all responsible for it, why won't you go and follow that chance? Why won't you send us passes?
Yeah, they should actually, because I love rugby. I'd love to go.
Yeah, you can have my passes also.
Yeah.
So that was India and Kenya, which is a really deep relationship.
Yeah.
And also because we share so much, we spoke about food, but we also share so much diversity in culture and languages. Like you have, like 69, 70 languages that are spoken.
Yeah.
And it's also very similar. We might have a little more, a couple of hundred more, but it's also... I really like countries that are intrinsically diverse.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing because also we get to experience like the Sikh culture.
Yeah.
And we celebrate Diwali.
Oh.
And it's the best if you have Indian neighbors.
Yes.
Because they bring you lots
Sweets?
of food.
Yeah.
Yeah, like these like sugar bowls. Sugar.
What are they called? Rasgullas? Gulab jamuns?
Gulab jamuns.
Yeah,
they're really good.
Yeah.
So it's really nice if you have Indian neighbors around Diwali.
I really like back home, right? Some Indians can be assholes. Okay? And that's okay. Every country, every culture, everyone has assholes.
Yeah. That's
like a global problem. But when I talk to like different people from different countries, and I hear like Indians are doing like, it just takes like one or two Indians to change someone's perspective of 1 billion people. And I think it's so impactful. And it's so like these Indians that you mentioned, because of whom you have a positive image of India, I don't know those people, and no one will ever know those people. And they're like the unsung heroes, just by living themselves and just being like kind, normal, decent people.
Yeah.
They're just like really like influencing and impacting a positive idea of India to so many people. And I really admire those. And I want to be like tomorrow if someone is having a podcast in South America where there's some Indian kid has gone from India to South America to speak about Indians, and he speaks to an Australian person, and the Australian goes like, hey, that Indian, he was really nice to me. I like Indians. Yeah. I want to be that Indian that he was talking about.
Yeah, I also want to represent my country like that as well.
Yeah.
So, even like at home in high school, I've always had a positive image of Indians.
Yeah.
But one thing that Indians are is very competitive in school. And it was always so hard to beat the Indians at math, science, those kinds of things. Indians were like championing.
It was also very annoying for me.
It really annoyed me. I was like, what is it that they do that makes them so good?
See, but I don't understand that though, because like even back home, I realized after coming here is that like studies and school and colleges, it's all really competitive. Like it's competitive to an unhealthy level, because like people, this happened recently. I don't want to get really depressing about this, but like recently, like people will end their lives because of bad marks. And not bad marks as in not like, hey, you failed. Just like not good enough. And it's unhealthy, and I don't know why that trend is there. One of my theories is because India has 1 million people. The competition is natural because, there's so many people, there's so much
Yeah.
competition.
Yeah, I think also from at least the Indian friends that I knew,
Yeah.
a lot of pressure came from their parents.
Yes.
Which is also a very African thing.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure is put on us to do well.
Yeah.
Because if you're poor in Africa, you're really poor.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think our parents just want the best for us, but it comes off as so much pressure to do well.
Do you think, I'm just thinking about this because this is really interesting. Do you think it's something, it's like a colonial thing because our countries were left in such a state that, in developed countries, even poor people, you'll get subsidies, you'll get some help from the government. Even poor homeless people, it's not a death and life situation. It's a no luxury situation, but it's not that bad. But for countries like ours, being poor is like a life in that situation. So
Yeah.
do you think because the stakes are essentially so high that if you don't do well, that's it, bye bye,
Yeah.
and it's so depressing and sad
Yeah.
that the pressure is just more.
Yeah, I think so because, I mean, Kenya has, if not the largest slum in like East and
Yeah, because we
Central
have
Africa.
the copyrights on that. We have the largest slum.
Yeah, we have like one of the biggest slums, and no one wants to end up like that because you get no help from the government.
Yeah.
Even me, yes, I have grown up comfortably, and yes, I can say I've been more blessed than most people.
Yeah.
But for me, the pressure is still there. Like how people here in Australia, they don't get a degree and they're still doing so well in their lives.
Yeah.
They're making it, they're making so much money.
Yeah.
But for us, if you don't have a degree, or if you don't invent something crazy,
Yeah.
then you're basically screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's definitely still pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also I should acknowledge that we are, by the fact of us being here in a different country and living comfortable lives, it's worth acknowledging that we haven't seen the bad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're kind of privileged.
Yeah,
and I
we
hate it in a way.
I hate it as well because even my friends here think like I've come from so much wealth when really my parents work. So my mom, she's a single mom and she basically does everything. So she pays our school fees.
Yeah.
She takes care of everything, and she'll never say no.
Yeah, yeah.
If she can do it for us, she's gonna try her hardest to do everything.
Yeah.
So I think also that motivates me really hard to work hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I see how much my mom works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can relate in the sense that before coming here, I've always thought that even after coming here, for most of my time here, I've always thought like moms are awesome in general, but Indian moms, I've always I'm trying not to be biased, but I've always thought Indian moms were like the best moms because Indian moms will do everything and they will not even let you know
Yeah.
of how much they are doing for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're so selfless. It's like the closest thing, and it's also been compared in a lot of movies and songs that it's like the closest thing to God, which is like moms are really like, yeah. And like hearing about your mom, it's very like maybe we have that in common. Like moms, both of our like countries, moms are really really awesome people.
Yeah, and it's crazy because there's so many single moms in not just Kenya, in Africa in general.
Yeah.
And a lot. I don't want to speak badly about men. There's a lot of great fathers out there, but you find that a lot of men go to the local pubs and get drunk, while the women are, doing hard labor, like being house helps and all that to provide for their families. So yeah, it's just really sad, but that's how it is.
No, but it's okay to speak badly of men because in both of our countries, women's rights has always been lacking and suffering. Mm-hmm. It's not a topic that I should talk about.
Yeah.
It's best if a woman talks about it, but it's fair to acknowledge that it's really hard to be a woman in at least my country.
In my country as well.
Yeah.
Because you basically are almost treated like you're a second class person.
Yeah.
And it's really sad because I see how much women are empowered here, and I'm like, I wish, one day our countries can get there.
It's a good thing actually. It's not a lot, and it's not enough, definitely. But right now we are having an entire like a cultural movement where women are speaking up against a lot of injustice, and it's a really nice time.
Yeah.
And I hope like it's again like it's not enough. It's definitely not. It shouldn't stop here.
Yeah.
But it's really nice that like there's this wave of change that's coming.
Yeah.
And it just makes me happier because any country that respects half of their entire population is a good country to live in, and if you don't, then that's not a good country.
Yeah, and I think even for our economies, women need to be given more rights to work and all that.
Yeah.
You know, we need to go from developing to developed one day, hopefully.
Yeah. But that's also like you have Kenya released something in 2007 called Vision 2030.
Yeah.
We had something. It was either Vision 2020 or 2030, but something very similar.
Yeah.
And okay, so this is a random question, but what is your government also screwing around? Because
I can't even begin to talk about our government
okay,
because it's just so sad how they're just, corruption is a huge thing in Africa, I don't know about India. Yeah, but it's such a huge thing that the rich just keep getting richer.
Yeah.
And the poor keep suffering.
Yeah.
And it's just the saddest thing, but hopefully one day something will change.
Yeah. Because like with both of our countries, there are so many nice things. But it's also fair to acknowledge that there are some flaws.
Yeah.
Like I used to make jokes back home about jokes basically targeted at the government, and sometimes I would question. I'm like, Masha, are you not like just like criticizing the government or just saying bad things about or pointing out flaws? Does that mean you're not? Are you like I used to question my love for my country, and I've always the answer to that, the conclusion that I've reached is that if you love your country, you'll talk about its problems. Because that's the first part to fixing it, is that you acknowledge that there are some problems.
Yeah.
And now that we've known, for the longest time, we used to, as growing up as children, we used to hold America in this high regard as in that kid, he's figured it out.
Yeah.
But over the political discourse that has happened in the last 3 years, it's again it's like we're in school and America is that kid who does sports and does academics and killing it, and we are like getting B's and C's.
Yeah.
But now we're kind of now we've graduated high school and we're like no kid has figured it out.
Yeah.
We're all learning. We all have problems.
Yeah. On the point of how you questioned how you loved your country, I also questioned it a lot while I was there.
Yeah.
And then when I moved here, I was like, wow, I actually love Kenya so much.
The nicest thing or the nicest compliment that I've gotten in the past 1 year of living here is that one of our friends, Ali, he's like, you're very desi. Like, you're the most Indian person I've met. And I was like, fuck, I love it. I want to be the most Indian person.
I know, you don't appreciate your culture until you're out of it.
Yeah.
Like, I really miss home. Like, all the bad things and the good things.
I'm sorry I keep coming to the relationship thing. But when you're in a relationship and you're with someone, you're like, I could be more independent, I could travel, it's holding me back. All of that BS that you tell yourself.
Yeah.
But then once you break up, you're like, it was so good.
Yeah, it was so good. I miss the music. I miss all the memories,
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is it's a bit of a tangent, but since you mentioned that you grew up with Indian people and you went to a school where there were Indians, obviously Kenyan Indians are not going to be the same as Indians, but how close do you think is, say for example, an Indian that you know from your school and me? Like how similar or how dissimilar are Indians?
I think you're very similar.
Yeah?
Like the Indian guys, especially in Kenya, are really funny. And so when I met you, I was like, like you and Ali are the funniest people. So I was like, oh my gosh, it's so weird how similar you are.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I can get along with these two. just because the Indians I know from back home are so funny.
So it's like you kind of relate in the sense that it's very you find like a parallel or a similar thing
Yeah.
that connects me and Ali.
Yeah.
Not Ali because he's Pakistani. So
Yeah, but still, there's still
It's
lots of
still-
Pakistanis in Kenya.
yeah, it's still
Yeah.
like he's still from pre-1947 India.
Yeah, but very similar.
Yeah. Again, I just want to make it clear. I can make all the Pakistani jokes I want because Ali is really he's a close friend.
Yeah.
I can do it. Like, I guess so. I can do it. Yeah. Because if I have to mention, otherwise
Yeah.
there'll be problems.
Yeah.
So yeah, other things that we spoke about Kenya and India, and we spoke about the similarities that we have, and we also spoke about how countries, the state that they are in, it's getting better, and hopefully it'll keep on getting better.
Yeah.
But I also want to talk about Australia and you coming to Australia.
Yeah.
So you're studying environmental management,
Yes, I am.
and we're basically from the same uni.
Yeah.
And you're also an international student ambassador for UQ. So that's also one thing that we have in common.
Yeah.
So how has your experience been?
My transition of moving here was, I think it was easy because I lived in college in my first year.
Yeah.
So I had no choice but to adjust because I was living with Australians 24/7.
You didn't get to transition a lot, did
No,
you?
I was forced into it.
Was the food good though?
Gosh. It really disturbed me every time at dinner.
Yeah.
They had rice
Yeah.
and no stew. I was like, am I supposed to eat dry rice? It was so crazy.
Is that
to
common
me.
here?
It is.
Huh.
Just dry rice with some veggies. And I was like, I can't survive. That was like one of the main reasons I moved out of college.
Okay.
Otherwise, I had a really good time.
Yeah.
You know how Aussies are. They're very welcoming and
Yes.
very curious about my culture.
Yes.
And, yeah, I learned so much in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
I came in a week, so all of us freshers were hazed. Yeah, we had to wake up every morning at 6.
So what was the hazing?
So we had to wake up every morning at 6 to go jogging.
Okay.
And they would be like yelling at us, run faster, freshers, and all that. And then they would basically bully us.
Ouch.
Yeah, they would make someone, like 2 guys had to do this competition where they chugged a liter of milk and then they had to sprint. And by the end of it, these guys were puking their guts out, and I felt really bad. And you had no choice but to do what they say.
Sorry, I'm really interested in like the politics of colleges and hazing. Because I've always heard of it. I've always seen it in like American Hollywood movies that there's like frats, and do we have frats in UQ?
I wouldn't say they're frats, but the colleges do compete in like sports, and there's a dance fest and a choral fest, so basically singing.
Yeah. So colleges by itself, they are kind of like institutionalized frats.
They're kind of like frats, but I don't think they're as intense.
Yeah.
There's definitely like rivalries.
Yeah.
But
and I've also like heard hazing stories from other more intense colleges, especially
like
some of the
the boys colleges were hazed really bad.
Yeah. And so how does this work? You said that say for example if you're like the hazing process, because this never happened to me / I've never experienced it. We have a version of it in back home. It never happened in the universities that I went to, but I've seen it in Bollywood movies that it happens, where the seniors would often like play pranks on the freshers. So how does it, like, who controls, like when you say that you have no choice, can't you just like not go out for the hazing? Can't you just like not wake up?
I mean, my excuse, like, I just started crying and I was like, oh, I'm so jet lagged, I can't do this anymore. And they felt bad for me.
Oh, okay.
Of course, the
but
African
who are
kids.
these they?
So there was like student leaders, I would say, of the college.
But they don't have any, do they have any authority?
Yes, they had authority in a week.
Okay.
Because we were so scared, we were like, oh my gosh, they're so scary, we have to do what they say.
But like, what are the punishments that they can give you? Like, say for example, because I'm a rebel, right? So
Yeah.
if I went to a college and they said, hey, wake up at 6 a.m., I'm like, dude, I don't wake up at 6 a.m. for my lectures.
Yeah.
Why would I wake up to be hazed? So like, what is the repercussions of someone like me who wouldn't listen to what they're saying?
If they said you were disrespecting them,
Yeah.
they would like crack an egg on your head.
Yeah, but like, how
Or-
would they? I would be in my room.
They would do it when we were out in public
Oh.
because we had other like events.
Oh, okay.
So we had like a hoedown where we had to like, dance like cowboys, I think.
Okay.
It's cowboys who do hoedowns, right?
I have a feeling it's Irish,
Anyway,
but I'm not sure.
anyway, yeah, we had a hoedown and then out of nowhere they'd be like, get down on the floor, freshers. And I was just so scared because I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
I thought college was just like any other accommodation.
Yeah.
You come, you eat together maybe, you make a few friends, maybe you go out, to the clubs together.
You know how they show in the brochures that all these like multicultural people are having fun?
I was the only African, like from Africa. There was two other boys.
From the entire continent.
Oh. But there was two other boys,
Yeah.
African guys, but they're Australian.
Okay.
So I couldn't even like relate to them.
Okay.
So yeah, my first year was an experience.
Well, I'm so sorry. That sounds really.
It
sad.
was only the first week I
First
was
week.
really scared, but
Okay.
after that they were all really nice, and I was like, why were you guys so
Yeah, why were you mean to start with?
horrible to us during a week? And they're like, oh, just for fun. Yeah,
Weird concept of fun.
just for fun. Can you believe? But yeah.
But yeah, someday I'm gonna make like a docu-series or like some investigative piece about colleges and hazing, and because I really want to figure out how it works. Because I think it's like the concept of doing something that you don't want to is not correct morally.
Yeah.
So I just want to I want to introduce like a referendum or something that basically gives people the option. So when you enroll in college, you have like a small tick box that says, "Hey, do you want to be hazed? Do you think it's fun?" So like because some people like to be hazed, so go ahead. I don't want to stop fun for you.
Yeah.
So you take that box. I'm gonna bring out change.
Yeah, because it's actually such a serious thing. Because in I think there was a story about a boy in New South Wales.
Yeah.
Who was hazed so bad, I think he committed suicide.
Shit. And this was in the colleges?
Yeah. Yeah, so hazing has basically gone down
yes.
been toned down so much since back in the day.
Yeah.
Because it's now considered bullying.
Bullying, yeah.
So the college culture in Australia is really, I think, crazy because the boys want to outdrink each other. The girls are fighting over boys. It's just, to me, it was crazy. I was like, am I back in high school? So I was like, yeah, I need to move out. I made so many good friends in college, and they helped me so much, transition.
But is that the thing? Is that because what you're essentially describing is very it's like Mean Girls. You know what I'm saying? Like guys trying to outman each other, outdrink each other, and girls trying to compete for the most desirable guy.
Yeah, it's actually crazy because how seriously people take it.
Yeah.
I think for me, because I didn't care. I was just there to
study.
Yeah,
and experience a new culture.
Yeah. So to me, I was just there to make some friends.
Yeah.
And to learn about the culture.
Yeah.
And just experience something new.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I didn't care, so it didn't really affect me.
Yeah, and I don't think that hazing or basically the college culture that is there is typically an Australian thing because it happens in most parts of the country.
Yeah.
And a lot of my friends who are domestic students or basically from Australia, they have the same views on college life and college antiques and hazing as we do. But yes, I get it that some people from high school, they want to have fun.
Yeah.
Just, you know what? Hey, colleges, if you're listening, I have a great idea. Just put a tick box, like a box there that you can take.
Yeah.
The people who want to get hazed, they'll take, make it like a fun thing.
Yeah. Yeah, but otherwise, not all colleges are hazed.
Yeah, I would guess, because I was also trying to, initially I thought that I would also enroll in a college for the first year. because colleges are essentially like the crash course of experiencing Australian culture.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't know anything about this country or the people of this country in 2 years as you would have in that just like first 4 weeks of living with so many different students all together.
Yeah.
So I was considering, and I always thought like, so I'm brown, right? So I always had this idea that, like things might not necessarily go well for me sometimes. So I thought, hey, maybe, I'll go for the college that has the most multicultural people, just so it's easier for me.
Yeah.
So I thought of like going to like International House or something because it has international in its name. So I expected, hey, this will be good.
To me, I've never been fearful of being different because I've always been different wherever I was.
Okay.
I was always the tallest girl. I've always been so different to everyone else. So to me, I was just like, I'm gonna go and live wherever I want to live.
So about the tallest thing, have you ever noticed that all the group pictures, we're almost always next to each other because we're both really tall?
Yeah, I'm just really tall, just from genetics.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my brother and sister are really tall as well.
Yeah.
So because of that, I've always felt kind of different from even my friends.
Yeah.
So I'm used to being different. So I was just like, if they bully me, I'll bully back.
That's really nice.
Yeah, so I wasn't scared of, being African, being black. I was just like...
You're a 1,000 times braver than I am. Because I was like, hey, you know what? No, I'm just gonna stay, because I'm very non-confrontational.
Yeah.
So like if something happens, right, that's why I'm also like into comedies, because if something bad happens, I will not address it in the moment. I will later, 10 weeks later, go in a bar and crack a joke about it.
Yeah, your tweets are very funny.
So this is like the elephant in the room. But we're both people of color.
Yeah.
I think that I've always felt, even when like I passed by, even when I was new to the city, I would get into a bus, and if there were people of color, it doesn't even matter what color. It's just that if there are people of color, I would feel like, hey, kind of like it's like this imaginary bond that I automatically have with people of color in an especially white country. So so how has your experience been?
When I first got here, and even now, I get a lot of stares.
Yes.
Yeah, I get stared at like a lot, and I catch people staring, and they continue to stare.
But so is that the stare because you look different?
I'm not sure. I think it's also my hair changes a lot. Maybe because I'm really tall. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not a lot of black people in Australia, and in Brisbane especially.
Yeah.
So I guess when they see me, they're like, okay, she looks different.
Yeah.
But one thing that kind of disturbs me, this has happened a few times, especially with Asians.
Yeah.
They come up to me and they ask to take photos with me.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, sorry, not wow. I don't know. How do you take it? Do you take it as wow or do you take it as not wow?
I kind of just, I don't want to be negative.
Yeah.
So I kind of just take it like, oh, I must be hot,
Sorry, this is bizarre. It's just like settling in. So not your friends.
No.
Just like people you don't know.
Yeah.
They want to take a photo of you, like along with, like with you?
Yeah. It happened. We were volunteering for, I think it was a choir festival.
Raise Your Choir?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Raise Your Voice in
Raise Your
South
Voice,
Bank. And I was just outside the venue giving out flyers with the other Hazel.
Yes, I remember,
This, I think, group of tourists they're from China.
Yeah.
They came up to me and I gave them a flyer and they were like, oh, can we take pictures? And I was like, pictures of what? They were like, pictures with you. I was like, what? But then I was like, okay, yeah, and I took pictures of it. It's so weird.
That's problematic.
And it's happened more than once because I was also volunteering at the Brisbane Festival and it happened on 2 different occasions.
Okay. So at this point, I don't think it's necessarily them taking a photo with a volunteer.
It's taking a photo with a black person, I think, is what they're doing.
Okay.
And to me, I'm not offended because
Yeah.
I like to stay positive. I'm just like, it must be so beautiful that they want to take a
Yeah,
photo with me.
it's definitely problematic, but it's also not ill-intentioned, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it's so strange, but you get used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so my experience here has been, good.
Yeah.
For the most part. I
Yeah.
haven't experienced like any racism
Yeah.
or anything like that. But what I'd say I've experienced is kind of ignorance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will that be towards your culture?
Ignorance towards just different things that would like kind of be offensive.
Okay. Yeah.
Like for example, in college, you know how the college culture, the girls are obsessed with fake tan. Right?
Yes. Here. Not back at home.
Yeah,
Back at home,
here.
everyone wants to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, this girl would fake tan, and she left her tan on for too long, and she's like, oh, I left my tan on for too long. I'm basically black now. And I just looked at her, and I was like, okay, because I don't think she
was just so ignorant.
Me.
Yeah, she didn't mean it as.
But I was like, do you know what it means to be black? She was orange. She wasn't black.
Right.
Yeah, and it just things like that where I realized the person didn't mean to be rude, but it actually came out as very rude. Yeah. And another thing, I know when the visas hear this, they're gonna, feel bad. But another thing that really disturbs me is when people just go in for my hair, because my hair changes a lot,
Yes.
and I know they're really interested.
Yes.
But it's like also a personal space thing.
Yeah.
For people to just grab my hair out of nowhere, it's at least ask first.
Or to put it generally, don't touch anyone's hair.
Yeah,
Because
you don't see me going in for people's hair.
People in general never touch anyone's hair.
Yeah,
right?
you don't touch anyone in general without them, consenting to it.
That, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I should be more vocal about it because I know the visas have done it before. Like the visa.
Do you think they're like so interested and
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing. That's why I don't like get mad or stuff like that. I'm just like.
But you're still like annoyed. Because it does invade your personal space.
Yeah, that's the thing for me. It's not even about like, oh, don't touch me. It's
Right.
just like, oh, that's just too invasive,
Yeah. Also, one of the fears that I have, generally as just myself, a lot of people will unintentionally say something offensive. And then I think about that and I'm like, hey man, Sean, they're not aware of it. So sometimes I'm like, what if I am unintentionally offensive to someone?
Yeah, that's the thing as well. Because it's just the same way I thought in Australia there's kangaroos everywhere and, real bogany people everywhere, walking around without shoes and in shorts and vests. But it's not actually like that
No,
here.
it's not. No.
So for them, even when they ask me, oh, in Africa, do you have lions in your backyard? I don't get offended. I'm just like...
Because stereotypes and generalizations go both ways.
Yeah. So...
But that's a very weird thing to not just on a cultural basis and not just on an ignorance basis. It just, as a common sense basis, it's just a stupid question to ask if you have lions in the backyard. If you know what lions are, and if you know what a backyard is, they're not going to go together.
Yeah, but the stereotype is kind of true because in my village, where my mom comes from, we just have elephants
elephants are fine.
Just roaming around.
There are leopards in one of the most prestigious university in my city. Like leopards.
Yeah, so it's just, you know how there's kangaroos like just roaming around here?
Yeah.
We do have animals roaming around, but it's not how you imagine it. We live in mud huts and we have lions and elephants around.
But that's also like, even with like, Indians get a lot of like cow. They're like, oh, are the cows just on the road like vehicles? So the answer is both yes and no.
Yeah. For us too.
Yeah. That's weird.
Yeah, you can just be in traffic and this herdsman just comes with his cows and we're like, oh, okay, now we have to stop for the cows to pass. So it's kind of true. The stereotypes are somewhat true, but...
Yeah, the answer is almost always yes and no.
Yeah, yes and no, yeah.
So one of the last things that I want to talk about is your accent. And like I mentioned, I don't unintentionally want to offend, and please tell me if I do offend. But you agree that your accent is not it's an outlier on the Kenyan accent spectrum.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And am I wrong in saying, because I remember we met at Minha's farewell party, and I said, hey, you sound like a Britisher.
Yeah.
So is it true for me to say that you sound like a British person?
When I say some words,
yeah,
or when I'm talking about something important, like in uni when I give presentations, the British really comes out. I'm like, oh gosh, they're the colonialists again.
And it's like, and you mentioned that it's because you went to a British school.
Yeah.
So your teachers were British, and that's how it.
Yeah, that's how it happened. So in Kenya, because we were colonized and a lot of British people stayed.
Yeah.
They had to make schools for them, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, all the really old schools in Kenya are British.
Yeah.
They're still, headmaster is still British, and British teachers straight from England.
Yeah.
Probably even never been to Africa before.
And that's still like till date?
Yeah, till today.
Yeah.
There's still, the Kenyan system, but it just depends on where you grow up and everything like that.
Yeah.
The British system opens more doors, basically. So what everyone does is they go to a British school and then they go study in the UK.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. I went to boarding school, a British boarding school. It was 3 hours out of Nairobi.
Okay.
In the most remote... Okay, not the most remote, but it was in the middle of nowhere, basically.
Yes.
When you enter, you just feel like you're in another country.
Yes.
You feel like you're in some country town in the UK because the British influence is so strong.
Because I'm guessing that if the boarding school is going to be far away from the city, then obviously the people who are running it are also going to stay nearby.
Yeah.
And then it's like a small town.
Community.
Yes.
Yeah. The teachers lived on the school campus.
Yeah.
Of course, there was other like kids from whose parents were like missionaries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Other British kids there, and so I think that's why my accent sometimes comes off British.
Yeah, and it's also something that annoys me a little because so the Britishers colonized us, and I actually am from a Jesuit school, which the Britishers built way before independence. Like it's one of the oldest schools. And there are a lot of schools that they built, and that's really nice.
Yeah.
But they're not run by Britishers; they're run by Jesuits. So they're all Catholic schools.
Yeah.
But they're still Indians. Everyone running it, from the teachers to the headmaster to everyone.
Yeah.
They're all Indians. But I don't have that accent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, clearly so. But it annoys me. It's like, because if I did have a British accent, it would really help me back home. People are really...
How?
They're a big... Because, everyone loves a British accent. I love a British accent. Sure, Benedict Cumberbatch looks really cute, but also his accent. Have you seen Tom Hiddleston? I want to be the human version of Tom Hiddleston's accent. I don't know. And it's messed up. You know why? Because it's like... Have you heard about the Stockholm Syndrome?
No.
It's like this psychological syndrome. To just oversimplify it, it's like when you have feelings of empathy for someone who's kidnapping you.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always questioned, and this question has been in my mind since school, that why as a society in India, why do we love fairness so much? Is it some messed up idea that we have that Britishers were fair and they were powerful, so fair is good?
Yeah.
And second, why do we love their accents so much? But then I grew up and I'm like, no, everyone loves British accents. So maybe, Oh, sorry. I just realized that Britishers were actually English. And they were English because they made English.
Yeah.
So obviously in the language that they have, obviously they have the best accent. It sounds psychologically and natural. Sorry, this is a random tangent. I don't know why I went on that. But yeah, really envious of how you speak words.
And it's very strange because it's not like this all the time.
Okay.
When I'm like with my friends, my Kenyan friends, and we start like speaking Swahili and mixing it up with English, we sound local as hell. So it's weird how I can switch up.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's exactly the best thing. Because even when I came here, people were like, wow, your English is so good. And I'm like, yeah, thank you. You know, like they'd ask, like, where did you learn how to speak English? And I'm like, we were colonized. So,
you know, a lot of people, they have this idea, like Indians, when they speak English, they're like, oh, you speak English. And I'm like, dude, we have the highest English-speaking people in the world.
Yeah.
Like, of course we speak English.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's another thing people don't know.
Yeah.
It's, our official language is English.
English, yeah. And Swahili, yeah.
Yeah, and Swahili. So, yeah, that's why my accent is the way it is. Sometimes I'm not proud of it. I'm just like, why? How did I let this happen? How did I let this happen? And when did it happen? Because also my mom, she does not sound Kenyan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So even when we're like out in another country, people are like, where are you from? And we're like, Kenya. They're like, really? And we're like, yeah.
do they think like they are like you're like from the UK with a Kenyan descent? Is that what they're assuming?
I think that's what they think. Because even just people here ask me, oh, did you spend time in England? Or, and I'm like, no, I visited twice, but that's it. I don't have any ties to England really. Yeah.
But no, it's nice. I mean, it's a bit messed up, but it's also nice because a lot of Indian-born British people, I really like their accents. Like, if there's one accent that's better than the English-British accent, is that if someone from Indian descent has been brought up in Britain. Yeah. Now, I really like that combination a lot.
It kind of messes up with your mind.
Yeah.
It's just like how here, how there's so many Asians. Like
yes.
And then you hear an Australian accent come out of an Asian mouth, and you're like, this is interesting.
No, also because it's not just the mismatch, or it's not just that you would perceive something as someone as a typical Asian or Indian accent, and then you are surprised. It's just not that. It's just that the combination. If you've had like Indian parents, but you've lived in like UK, the combination, because everyone that I know who has Indian descent and has been brought up in the UK has this the epitome of accents. Like it's this bullseye of accents. I don't know why. Yeah. I mean, I might be biased again.
Yeah, I do love an English accent, but it didn't happen like on purpose.
Or did it?
No, it's just like the situation I grew up in. Yeah.
So, were you not enticed to go to the UK since you've been, and since that's something that's the norm back home?
Yeah. So, what happened when I was gonna go to uni? We had a tour of the UK with the school. So we went, to different unis to visit and ask questions about the courses we wanted to study and all that. And I just looked at the weather and I was like, there is no way I can live here. There's no way I could live in the UK.
It's not that bad. Okay, never mind.
It's bad. And I think it has an influence on the people as well. Because the people in the UK are not as warm as the people here. They don't care about you, or how here a random person can be like, oh, good day, and you're like, oh, hi.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that in the UK. Yeah. And there's nothing to do in the UK.
What do you mean?
Because basically, like 3/4 of the year, you're freezing.
Yeah.
So you don't want to go outside.
Fair enough.
I just couldn't see myself there.
Fair.
I even applied to unis.
Yeah.
And I got accepted into some.
Yeah.
But I basically didn't know where I was going. I didn't know I was coming to Australia until maybe 4 months before I came here.
That's actually quite early. I didn't know I was going to come here 1.5 months before.
Yeah, it's crazy because...
It's crazy, yeah. You know where I was applying? UK.
You see, it's so bad. Like, we want to go back to, like, our colonizers so bad. But I visited and I was just like, there's no way I can, live in the UK. Yeah. And also because I felt like the UK doesn't have as much opportunities.
Yes.
I was like, I need more than this. I'm
Yes,
not
because
gonna
I
go.
think as nations go, and again, I'm not a journalist or a geopolitical person, but
Yeah.
I think in general it seems like Australians are a bit more welcome to
Yeah,
outsiders
for
than UK.
sure.
Because the UKs are like, okay, it's we're closing. We don't even want Europe involved.
Yeah, I think the thing is with the UK, they already have so many immigrants.
Yes, fair
Like
enough.
they have so.
You know, the mayor of London is actually, I think he's Pakistani or Indian.
Yeah, you see.
Yeah.
So I think they're like, okay,
They're like, okay, that's it,
we're
that's
full
it,
now.
yeah.
So
You know when like those college brochures, they have like one Indian,
Yeah.
and they're like, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
You know, like in every college brochure, there'll be just like space for one Indian. That's it. That's the
yeah.
quota.
Yeah, so I was like, if I'm gonna go somewhere and
Yeah.
pay all that school fees, I need more than just what they're offering
Yeah.
me.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so yeah, that was gonna be my path, and then I was like, I'm gonna take a break, and maybe during my break, the wind will blow me somewhere.
So are you thinking of doing like a semester abroad?
No. I already feel like I'm doing a semester abroad. It took so much to come here. Like, the whole visa processes and all that. I'm just like, I can't go through it again.
So recently they had this entire summer semester thing because like the summer's now here.
Yeah.
So like 1.5 months back, the entire buzz was about summer semesters, and someone came and asked me really nicely, and she was like she works for UQ and like she knows me because of ISA and other things.
Yeah.
So she was like, hey Masha, like, are you planning to do a semester abroad? And she's so used to asking the question, maybe she missed out the fact that. But I just like looked at her and I was like, yeah, I am. I'm here.
Basically, we're doing our whole degrees abroad. So yeah, I was just that's why I chose to come here. I'm not even sure how I made the decision, but yeah, I'm glad I did.
Yeah, that's a nice thing. Like, I'm glad that you're happy with the decision.
Yeah.
So on that note, what is like the most memorable or your favorite memories from you?
A lot of my college memories were,
Yeah.
wild because they were filled with like crazy costumes and a lot of alcohol.
Yeah.
So I had some really good memories there. But also, I recently went to a conference, I think it was Asia Pacific Model United Nations conference in Sydney.
Yep.
And I think that's been my greatest experience because, first of all, I know nothing about laws, I know nothing about politics, I know nothing about anything like that. But my friend was like, please come with me. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll go. So yeah, it was in Sydney and...
Was that your like first month?
Yeah.
Oh.
Never
Do you
done...
like it?
Yeah, it was
nice,
so
right?
much fun.
Yeah.
Like, I even got so passionate about the thing we were
What
doing.
country did you get?
Of course, I got Kenya.
Oh, you took your own country?
Yeah, because I was like, if anyone's gonna know what goes on, it's probably gonna be me.
Yeah.
So it was just even something I've never even considered, like researching.
Yeah.
It was about women's rights and how. Yeah, it was just something about women's rights, and I got so passionate about it. I was like, who are you, and why are you so interested in this all of a sudden? So yeah, it was a really nice experience, and Sydney is really nice as well. We stayed at Bondi, and it was really beautiful, and yeah, it was just a good experience.
Yeah.
I learned so much.
So like how people have comfort food? Mm-hmm. What's your comfort place in Brisbane? Like, what is this one place that you'd go in the city or in the state even that would really like, that's like your go-to place?
Oh, there's so many places. I think my favorite place to go is the koala sanctuary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good
Just
choice.
because, I study the environment and I love animals.
Yeah.
And yeah. It's always just so nice to see them. Yeah, like we're best friends. But yeah, it's my favorite place to go. And when my family comes to visit, it will be the first place I take them. Yeah. What's your favorite place?
I don't know that. That's the thing. I don't know that. It's a silly answer. I probably shouldn't say it. But there's a subway at Martyr Hill.
what?
A Subway. It's a like
A Subway?
It's a Subway.
As in the restaurant?
The restaurant, yes, the Subway,
God.
the chain restaurant called Subway. That in Martyr Hill.
Yeah.
That's my favorite place. I know it's weird. I know, but it's
Why that specific one?
because I live next to it.
But there's a Subway in UQ, and you're always at UQ.
Yeah, but I won't take Subway from UQ or eat at UQ.
Yeah.
The Subway is inherently a messy thing to eat. So I always liked eating at home. So I'd rather take the Subway from a place next to me, so it's like stays consistent by the time I reach home.
True.
And also so that the bus doesn't smell with Subway.
True.
Yeah.
And another thing I wanted to ask you is, I know you're vegetarian, right?
You know, that's actually related to the answer why Subway is my favorite place.
Why?
Because when I came here, it was really hard to find vegetarian food.
Oh.
And Subway has 2 vegetarian options, which is one more than I need. So that's all I ate for. I cooked, but there are some days you can't cook. So
True.
Subway.
Yeah, that must be hard. Like, are you vegetarian for religious reasons or?
The answer is really simple. I'm vegetarian because my mom is vegetarian. Now, I don't know why she's vegetarian.
Yeah.
I think it could be religion. I think because the animals, she likes them. I don't know.
Yeah.
But she's vegetarian. So when my mom and my dad got married, my dad was a hardcore non-vegetarian, but then he got married to my mom. So he's like, YOLO, romance. So, so he gave up non-vegetarian food. And like after that, he's never had non-vegetarian food. And then I was conceived, so I didn't have non-vegetarian food. And the thing is that it wasn't difficult being non-vegetarian in India because a lot of cultures are non-vegetarian. Are vegetarian.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get all the food. Like it was never a hassle. In fact, it's actually easier to be a vegetarian than a non-vegetarian sometimes in India, at least in my city. Having said that, I don't know why I am. I am. That's it.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, studying environmental management, how meat and stuff like that has such a huge impact on the environment.
Yeah.
But
Is that like an inherent conflict? Because you're non-vegetarian, right?
yeah.
So is that like an inherent like a battle within yourself that you love the environment but you're...
I mean, I can't say I feel guilty because I love meat. No lie, I love meat, and I don't think I'm ever gonna give it up. So I'm like, you know what? I'll do my part in other ways.
Yeah. Fair enough. Because a lot of people, especially here, because back home is very common to be a vegetarian. It's not... A lot of people also think that all Indians are vegetarians. Yeah. Most of the Indians are actually non-vegetarians. It's the minority, but it's a decent minority. And most non-vegetarians also enjoy vegetarian food because it's so available. But when I came here, a lot of people, when they heard that I'm vegetarian, and they were kind of shocked because it's not that many people. But they were also like, they would try to justify that they don't hate animals. And I'm like, I'm not one of those people who will tell you what to eat. I don't care if you eat. Like most of my friends back home eat non-veg. I've never been like, hey, meat is murder or whatever. Yeah, I don't eat as my choice, and the same choice should also apply to everyone. That you have a choice.
Yeah, because like a lot of people who I study with are vegan and stuff like that.
They annoy you?
No, they don't really annoy me. It's their choice.
Yeah.
But what annoys me is when they try and like push it on you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like sometimes
you
vegans
should try for a week, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna try for a week. But yeah, it's not really a conflict for me because I know I'm never gonna stop. Yeah. Maybe I can reduce the amount I eat. Yeah. But I don't think I'm ever gonna.
But also, I'm not. I was also surprised that a lot of vegans, and the same attitude that you have about vegetarianism, I have the same attitude about veganism because I can't ever be vegan. I just can't. I love milk way too much. Yeah. I just can't. And like one of my favorite dishes, which is paneer or like cottage cheese. Oh yeah. I can't give that up. Paneer. Yeah. It's like my life. It's like basically like the substitute chicken.
Yeah.
So on a closing note, just to wrap up the analogy that I started earlier, is that with your accent, it's really strange because again, like I said, it's a relationship. And you having a British accent is basically, the accent version or the accent equivalent of you wearing your ex-boyfriend's clothes. Oh. It's like hey, what are you doing? It's weird. So yeah, that's just the analogy that I thought of. But it's good. If you like that shirt, no matter who gave it to you, you wear it.
Sometimes I'm just like, do I like it? Do I really?
And then you hear yourself saying it in a British accent, and you're like, yes, I do.
Yeah. At least, I can speak English.
Yeah.
And you know how the agency have to come and learn English first.
That's so hard, though.
It's crazy to me how they do that.
Yeah.
And then they just come here and they study in English. I'm like, I would never. If I went to France now.
Like I started studying German and Spanish 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I can't say a single sentence.
Honestly.
I know words, but that's it.
Yeah.
I was speaking to one of my friends from China. He's doing the same course that I'm doing, and we're really close friends. And I often talk to him a lot in English because he's like, when he goes home, his roommates are Chinese and they speak in Mandarin, and he wants to learn English because he just recently started learning English.
Yeah.
And he has to learn English because he needs it, but he's not able to because with the Australians, it's too hard to have a conversation, but. Because they do speak fast for someone who's not well versed in English.
True.
Like, I had trouble watching Hollywood movies when I was younger.
Yeah. I had trouble as well with the accent when I came.
Yeah?
Yeah.
With a lot of professors?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, fair enough. So I can definitely understand the plight of someone who's just started learning English.
Yeah.
So I just like, a lot of times, like, I will just call them during lunch and I'll be like, let's just grab something and let's just talk about anything. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And he mentioned that it is really. I told him that I'm really. I have a lot of admiration for people who come here and learn a new language and study in that language. I can't even get marks knowing the language.
Honestly. But yeah.
Mom and Dad, that's a joke. I'm getting good marks. I need to tell them that, okay?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good time.
Yeah. So also I just want to hi people from Mumbai. You might be confused with the whole example of Hazel or Kagwiria having a boarding school 3 hours away from the city. So just think of it as Panchgani. That's how it is. Because Panchgani is the same thing basically.
Yeah.
Panchgani has a lot of boarding schools. It's 3 hours away. Blah blah blah. Yeah. Just giving my people a reference.
Yeah, I didn't realize you're like a celebrity.
What?
In India, aren't you? With your podcast.
No.
Really?
No, am I? No.
Are you sure?
I'm quite... Hazel, am I sure if I'm a celebrity? I'm sure. Trust me, I'm sure.
Oh, okay then.
But you thought so?
Someone told me that you're really popular.
I'm kind of popular.
See?
But there are a billion people, so, even if I'm 1 in a million, that's nothing. That's
True.
really nothing.
Yeah.
This is a good podcast. I personally enjoyed it a lot.
Me too. I didn't realize how much we have in common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hope that anyone who's listening or people in general have more of an idea of Kenya and Kenyan culture. And also if people from back home are listening, they will understand that we don't often realize how much we have in common and how much of an ally Kenya has been to India. Mm-hmm. And I hope people value that more now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
thanks so much for giving your time.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It's an honor, really.
No, it's a weird flex, but okay.
Yeah, I'm just here to represent my country,
And I think you're doing an amazing job representing your country.
Oh, thank you.
Even though the accent is... No, I'm sorry. I think I'm really... You know why I'm so focused on the accent? Because, inside I'm really jealous.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even feel like I have a British accent.
I know it, but it's slightly there.
I think it's just some words that I say.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, that I speak slowly. I don't know. Yeah, someone told me the other day I speak slowly and I was like, what?
I would say yeah. Because people have told me I speak really fast.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah, so I hope people listening actually enjoy this. My slow voice or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope this has been fun for you, and I hope this has been fun for people who are listening.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.